This is a very sensitive subject, especially for those who survived and the relatives of those who died.
Yeah, and this was a decision that we had expected. We were informed by one of the groups that represents survivors and bereaved families that Angela Rayner, the Deputy Prime Minister, had essentially called a meeting on Wednesday night when she had told survivors and bereaved families that the decision was that Grenfell Tower would be demolished. This is the official confirmation coming from government today in the form of a statement published online that it will be demolished. The reason seems to be, for all of the consultation and the engagement that the government says Angela Rayner has had, it does appear to be structural reasons and reasons of safety that ultimately have led to this decision being taken. Part of the statement that's been published says the Deputy Prime Minister has considered independent expert advice. Engineering advice says that the tower is significantly damaged. It remains stable because of the measures put in place to protect it, but even with installation of additional props, the condition of the building will continue to worsen over time. Engineers also advise it's not practicable to retain many of the floors of the building in place as part of a memorial that must last in perpetuity. So essentially, Angela Rayner coming to the conclusion that the technical advice here about whether the severely damaged tower is able to stand safely for years to come, that is not possible, and that is what has led to this decision. The statement does go on to say that they did consider or look into keeping some of the floors as part of a memorial, but felt that that may well be painful for some of the survivors and relatives whose floors their relatives potentially perished on, may find that painful, not having those floors kept in place as well. Now, what happens next is that the government looks for a specialist contractor to take down the tower. That happens behind the wrapping that is on the tower, and they estimate it would happen take about 2 years. It won't start before June, before the 8th anniversary of that Grenfell fire that killed 72 people. We had heard, as we said, in the last day or so from bereaved families, from survivors, some of whom felt that this was the wrong decision. They said that they felt that it was outrageous, that it was disgraceful, unforgivable, and that it was ignoring the voices of people who lost family in the Grenfell Tower fire. What the government says is that essentially there wasn't a consensus on what should happen, that for some people they felt that it was a sacred site somewhere where essentially was the last resting place of relatives that they lost there. For others, it was a continual reminder of what happened and a painful reminder of what happened. So the government's position is that there was essentially no consensus, but what appears to have forced the government's decision in this is actually the structural evidence and the evidence around health and safety.